So then they say to him, where is your Father? And Jesus, of course, is speaking of God the Father. And they're like, well, where is your Father? And Jesus answered, you know neither me nor my Father. If you had known me, you would have known my Father also. These are Bible or Scripture scholars that Jesus is speaking to. These men had given their whole life to spiritual truths. These men have learned, they've not only learned, they've memorized huge portions of Scriptures. They know the law and the prophets very well. They can quote it. They can quote it left and right. They know Scripture. But Jesus makes a statement, you don't know me and you don't know my Father. Isn't that interesting that they know Scripture but don't know who Scripture's about? How is that even possible? How in the world could they be so full of knowledge of Scripture but not know the one who Scripture's about? It's tragic, but that can happen, and it happens all the time. The point I want to make with this is that spiritual disciplines, if we're not careful, spiritual disciplines can actually lead us away from Jesus. They can lead us away from Christ. So spiritual disciplines, okay, so praying. You wouldn't think so, but praying, fasting, reading the Bible, memorizing Scripture, worshiping, giving of our tithes and our offering, going to church, how we approach Scripture. All of those are spiritual disciplines, but if we're not careful, we'll step into those and they'll actually steer us away from the things of God if we're not careful. It happened with the Pharisees. You know that throughout the ages, that God got onto the children of Israel, the people, his people, he got onto them all the time about how they prayed. In fact, on the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus is like, don't pray like the Pharisees. They look good. They sound good. It's all for a show. It's all to have an appearance of godliness where they're not godly at all. God, throughout the ages, got onto them how they fasted. There were people who were fasting, and God's like, I don't accept that fast. Did you know there were times when they would bring offerings to the Lord, and God would say, I don't receive your offering. God addressed how they prayed, how they approached Him. God addressed how they approached Scripture all the time. He would say stuff like this. He said, "You honor me with your lips, but your hearts are far from me." Like, you going through the motions. How many's ever been caught up in church life where you're just going through the motions? 31. So our purpose in searching Scriptures is to know Him. It's possible to serve the Lord and others without truly knowing Him, and that's tragic. And so we want to make sure that everything we're doing, serving the Lord, searching Scriptures, it's all about knowing Him more. I want to know Him more. You know, we sing that song, I need you more than anything. That should be our attitude with it all. I need you more than anything. It's all about you. Jesus, you're the center of it all. You're the center of everything I do. All my spiritual disciplines are about getting to know you. They're not about me feeling good about myself. See, let me just, if it's all about you feeling good about yourself, you've gotten off track, because then it's all about you. And our pursuit, our Christian walk, our journey with the Lord is all about Him. He's the center of the universe, not us.